Good morning and welcome to What People Miss, the podcast that explores the subtleties of life inspired by Mozart's words. The music is not in the notes, but in the silence between them. This is where we listen for what most people overlook. This space is for those who dare to see themselves more deeply, to pause and reflect, to savor the parts of life they've been rushing past. Because when you savor life, you show up free, liberated, and confident, able to meet every moment, good or bad, with grace, presence, and power. I'm so excited today to talk about visibility with Lucy. And she's an author, a published author, a vegan, animal lover, and music enthusiast, and visiting us all the way here from the UK. Thank you for being on What People Miss today.
Thank you so much for having me.
Yeah, so I'm so curious, because we've known each other for a while, although we don't stay in touch so frequently. But when was the first time you remember dimming your light to feel safe, and what did it cost you to stay hidden for so long?
Okay, so I'm going to go back to my childhood because I think that's where it all starts. So trigger warning, I'm going to talk about some things, sexual abuse, racism, just to let you know that. But for me, I developed as a way of keeping myself safe, I developed this kind of I call it my invisibility cloak. Because from the age of 3 and the last thing happened when I was 17, I was sexually abused by 6 different men. So that was one thing that happened. The other thing that happened is my dad left when I was 5. My mum died when I was 9. So I was kind of left unprotected in a sense because I had 2 teenage brothers, teenage boys doing teenage things. And then also on top of that, growing up in Scotland, it was very racist. So that kind of left me with this identity of there's something wrong with me being a woman.
Mm.
Some of these men said to me, I'm doing this, it's your fault, you're making me do this. So I thought being a woman, having a woman's genitals, this is bad, it makes men do bad things. And then I thought my skin is bad. Having
Mm.
this brown skin is a bad thing, it makes me. And so really, if I go way, 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 way back to before like the abuse started, I remember being really excited and happy and running around you know, and then slowly all these things just kind of like dimmed that life force in me. And I also developed, as I said, this invisibility cloak because I thought if I can just kind of sneak through life and not attract anybody's attention, I'll keep myself safe.
Wow. Thank you for the trigger warning. And also, I do want to take a collective breath for those of you who may resonate with some of the things that Lucy mentioned, like you experienced it yourself. Just, take a moment and love yourself, just feel into the love. And, this is a supportive space. So those things definitely make you want to hide, but as you mentioned, like your skin. It's like you can't hide that. And as a child, I imagine you spent a lot of time in the sun. So you were, distinctly a little bit darker than others as well. You know what I mean? And so when you created your invisibility cloak, did you sometimes ever play with it as like a superpower, or was it always a protective um, kind of cloak?
Yeah, it's a good question. I think wasn't so aware. It was just, I think my main driving focus was to keep myself safe and to get through situations. And in a sense, I suppose it was. I didn't see it as a superpower, but it was a superpower because, I could go into a room and I could kind of, disappear in a sense. So that was one thing. So I think it was, this is something that I teach actually is that if we look back into our childhood, we came up with all these survival techniques. And I think that's absolutely amazing. And I think it's like, it's, I look at this young child in me and I'm in awe of her. She's a hero for me, you know? And I think that is being able to look at yourself in that way. It's so powerful and it's part of visibility. It's part of the visibility I teach because we often look at ourselves and think, oh my God, why am I like this? I shouldn't be like that. Da, 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 da. And I love it because when we start to look at these parts and what they did for us to keep us safe, to get us through life, they're heroes. And so I
Yeah.
celebrate her for being so wise and being so, you know, creative to come up with that way of survival.
That's what I was just gonna say. I'm like, the little girls in us are so creative, right? And our bodies are so wise because really it was the body, that created the cloak, you know, and just ways of being to protect yourself. And I love that you brought in, that's what you love, right? So I'm just already imagining like working with you looks like um, I start, rattling off the things that I hate about myself. And then you're like making a list. Oh, so actually, you can shift this into, amazingness. And like, I'm like looking at you like, are you mad? How are you seeing me, being frustrated as like a good thing, And but I see that you help women to show up with more confidence, and authenticity and like owning the parts of you that you hate and understanding that this is a reason to love and elevate yourself.
Yeah, so,
Yeah.
so, so much. I love this concept that I learned from internal family systems and parts work is there are no bad parts. So for me, that was actually life changing when I realized this. I was like, oh, so every part of me I get to love because in some way they're trying to help me. And when I realized that, it's just, oh, I don't have to be upset with that part. I don't have to be angry. I don't have to hate it. This is what we try and do a lot of times. Oh, I need to get rid of that. And we're in this relationship with ourselves of trying to get rid and, oh. Whereas when you realize that every part, there's no bad parts and you can just love on that part, we start to develop this loving relationship with ourselves, you know. And this is like you hit the nail on the head. Is I mean, even like last week or this week, I was sitting with a new potential client, and she just listed off all these things that were wrong with her, you know. And I was kind of like, oh, just wait till she starts to loving these parts. Just wait till she starts understanding them, you know. And it's really interesting because it takes a while to kind of drop into the truth of this. Because often when I'm coaching people, they want to hold on to, there's something wrong with me. It's like, and when I was in therapy, I learned this concept. I call it the turn now. It's when you're turning if you turn a car, you just go like that. But if you're turning a ship has to go like that. This
Oh,
big round. And so that's what it's like. It's like we just have to keep turning and keep turning and keep turning and keep turning because people often want to go back. Oh, there's something wrong with me. And I'm like, no, look at that door. It's over there. Go
mhm.
back. No, look at that door over there. You know, and it just takes a while to keep turning your brain. And at some point, you stay on that path. You
It
know.
sounds like you redirect them to understanding their worthiness, right? Like, I truly matter. I mean, even if I listen to your story, you found that, in fact, I matter, in fact, that I am, an amazing contribution to society, and look at all my superpowers, you know?
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. I
So,
teach that. I teach this process, which is I call it the wow process, and it's really like it's like witness all your greatness. Just look back on your past and witness it all. You know, and then it's like the O is for own it, and then
mhm,
the second W is for like walk with that truth now.
mhm.
Because there's so much greatness in the past that we just and I see this all the time with women is we negate, we like kind of minimize, we negate, you know, but actually it's like tell me about your life and I can point out 100 things that's amazing about you, you know. So yeah.
you're like intuitively able and literally able to see their true selves. But what does it really mean to see the true you, and how does that inner clarity change the way we're perceived by others?
I think seeing your true self is really owning this truth that you're lovable. Like really feeling that in your heart. You know, when you look at, I was watching a picture, a video of myself. I was at a festival on Friday and I was dancing. And so I was watching that video earlier on today and I literally had the biggest smile on my face watching myself because I felt genuine love towards myself, you know, and honestly the change because when I was a kid, I didn't even like looking in the mirror. I couldn't bear seeing especially my skin color, my hair, and, you know, I was just like, ugh. And to be able to look at myself and have this amazing grin on my face that's connected to my heart because I have love towards myself. I mean, that's taking people to that place, you know, getting them out of this habit. I think it's a habit, you know, it's of self-hate. And so really imagine if you can step into that self-love and show up from that place. How different your life is. Like my life is completely transformed. I never thought I could be the way I am now, you
Mhm.
know, and talking about visibility as a businesswoman, you know, you put yourself out there, people, you're going to get haters, you're going to get people that don't agree with you, all that kind of stuff. I've had haters, and it's like, okay, you're welcome to your own opinion. Sometimes it hurts, but it doesn't negate my love for myself. It doesn't negate me knowing that I'm a lovable person. And being a lovable person is not, it's also not kind of all like, oh, I'm all happy all the time and everything's great. It's not about that. I'm a human, I'm up and down, but I still am lovable. Even when
Yes.
I'm pissed off and angry and grumpy.
I know. It's like, yeah, we have joy, we have grief, we have all the things in between, you know? And people have opinions, you know? Like, I think the last time we talked, I was wearing hijab. And when I took it off, oh boy, the opinions that rolled in, you know? And then I started talking about sex. Then there were more opinions. And
And then their minds went,
I'm like, yeah, next thing you know, I'll be walking around naked. Never that. But the point is, right? People hate, you know? And I think of that as mostly as a disassociation from self, right? Because we see things are amplified in others that we dislike about ourselves, basically. So, and that doesn't mean that the things that we hear don't hurt, you know? But the length of time and the impact is what's different, right? Like when we were little girls, it may knock us out for months,
yeah,
all those kind of things. But like now, it's just like a blip. It's like, okay,
yeah,
10 minutes and that's over.
yeah. And it can also be used as, you know, this part comes up and it is hurting. It's like, oh, it can be used as information. Oh, there's still a part of me that needs a bit of attention, needs some love. So that's the other thing, you know. It's just to use everything, not to try and get rid of anything, or I shouldn't act like this, or I shouldn't respond like that. It's just, it's all information about yourself.
Definitely. It's like, now that I'm in somatic work, I really understand. Like, I can feel the difference when I'm experiencing something. Like, my that default that you were talking about, right? To run. I can feel my muscles, like some of them, they want to just, and I'm just like, where are you going? No, no, no. Let we stay here. We're gonna just, be present. And so it's, you know, you're right. It is very, very ingrained. Many people think visibility is just about being seen on stage or on social media. But what are the deeper emotional shifts that have to happen for someone to feel safe enough to be truly visible?
I think really it's, I mean, we kind of touched about it, is this, I talk about the work that I do is really like self relationship work. And it's really developing this relationship with yourself, which is one of compassion, it's one of kindness, it's one of love, it's one of understanding. Because once you can do all that with yourself, you know, when you put yourself out and it doesn't go well, instead of skulking off the stage and like beating yourself up, you're going, okay, that didn't go as well as we planned. You know, maybe there's a part of you that's hurt, maybe there's a part of you that's in shock or whatever, but it's having the ability in that relationship with yourself to be compassionate and say, okay, let's sit down and look at this. Because I would say, I'll try not to say most, but a lot of people are in that relationship with themselves where it's not enough. Come on, change, 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 do better, like all that kind of stuff, you know? And that doesn't actually lead to visibility feeling good, you know? Because one of the things I teach, we don't even go near, a lot of people get feedback, right? Which is what you're doing wrong. I teach something which I call essence appreciation. And it's
Mhm.
like, really, we look at what you're doing right. Even if everything goes wrong in your head, we look at what's right, what's good, what feels good. And we start to retrain the brain to look at yourself and find what's good about yourself. So, like, you're training yourself to feel good, to
Yeah.
have a smile. So, it's like all these things change about it, you know?
Wow. We literally like see the world the same. That's what I love about you. When I was seeing your post, I was like, oh, that's little Lucy, like just having fun and seeing what's good about Lucy and wanting to share that with other women. Like, don't you want to see what's good about you too? Come on, come on, let's
I love
go.
that. I love that. Because that's what it is, actually. I'm like, life can be good. Life can feel good. And it's like, you can have fun and you can like yourself and you can look in the mirror and go, wow. And, you know, so it's like amazing to teach other women that and to get them, when they get to that point, they're like, oh, I like myself. In fact, a client reached out to me this week and she said, I posted the video. I was really like, she took a risk to what she was sharing in the video. I posted the video this week and I didn't die and I had fun. And I was like, yes, exactly.
I love that. So, like, what other celebrations, have you seen? Like, people, like you gave the example of this one woman posting on social media. Like, what other successes you
I think
witnessed?
with my client, there's another client that I have. She's funny, right? She makes me laugh so much. We've been working together for 3 months and she wants to be visible. She wants to put herself out there to get clients. And so we were working together, and then at some point she had this, she's built up enough confidence that she'd made this 1 day workshop, and then she went out and taught it as a live thing in person. And then she said at the end she made a kind of call to action. She was a bit nervous, but she made an invitation to people, and she ended up signing a client for, I think it was just under $6,000, and then she had another couple of people sign up for something cheaper. And so she celebrated that shortly, right? And then about a month later, she came in and said, it's really hard. I don't know how to find clients. And I just burst out laughing. And I said, really? I said, what about what we've worked on? She's like, yeah, that doesn't count. I said, why not? And she went, because it was fun.
Oh, so, okay, her connecting it to being fun meant like, oh no, that's not work. Okay.
It was
Wow.
fun and it was easy. And I thought, I just burst out laughing. So I think, she made that monetary result. But for me, it was more, the bigger thing was that I directed her to, look, you've got this process that works for you.
Hmm.
Now you have to claim it. You have to own that you've created this way that is fun and is easy and it works. And she was like, oh, yeah, yeah, I get it now. So that for me it's always amazing to help women own what they create.
Yeah. Yeah. And that's interesting that she didn't, right? She could celebrate the one success, but so is that a pattern that you see also, like women feel like it's a one-off, or, you know, like they're like, that was one great moment, never gonna happen again?
I'd say more the pattern is it's not claiming the results. I have to do work with women to claim the results of what they create, you know. Even the simple things of I posted today, they don't claim that. It's just like, oh yeah, I had a moment where I felt confident and I posted. And I'm like, no, hold on a minute. Look at all the work you've done to get to this point. So that I think that's the habit that people that are, especially women, are stuck in. And I've seen because I've worked in television for 20 years, and then for the past 7 or 8 years I worked in live events, and it was a male kind of dominated industry that I was the part I was in. Men would come in, right, and they'd be like, sit down at the mixing desk and go, I don't know how to do it, but I know, I'll figure it out. They were much more, I don't know this result, but I'm going to claim it anyway.
Mm.
Whereas women would hold back and they'd want to go away and practice for months and then come down and sit at the mixing desk, you know. And I see the same on the stage.
Hmm.
Men would get on stage and be like, I don't know what I'm talking about, but I own this stage. This belongs to me. Complete opposite. 80% of women would come on stage and there'd be like this hesitancy.
Hmm.
So like that, just claiming that this, like claiming your right, claiming what you've done, claiming your power. Like I have to do a lot of work with women around that.
Mm. And do you think it's because of conditioning, like being the nice girl, you're not supposed to do these things? Do you see really a lot of that still?
I do, and I think it's very subtle. It's very, even women that are in their power still kind of can shrink or put on nice. I have to be nice or I actually wrote a post today about this. Palatable.
Mhm.
I need to be palatable to fit in, to keep safe. And I mean, I get it. Like, again, I keep coming back. I always come back to this there's no bad parts. We do it because we want to stay safe in some way. If we walk into a situation, and you probably know this from somatics, your body's reacted, your body's read everything. It's like, okay, I need to keep myself safe. That person's a bit, and it's so quick that we go there, you know? And because women, we have our conditioning, but just growing up and having the male gaze and walking down the street and getting wolf whistle, all these things impact us in a certain way. So visibility somehow in our bodies is dangerous.
Yeah.
And it's to kind of reclaim the safety around that, to know that, okay, if I want to put myself out in this situation, I will. But also if I want to shrink back, I'm happy to do that as well. So
Yeah.
yeah.
Like this makes me think of there's like a local thing that I go to sometimes, and my I guess maybe on my podcast, because I can use a microphone and sound changes, my voice sounds louder, but in person my voice is kind of quiet. And so there's quite a few people there, and they were like, you need to talk louder. And I said, no, I quite like my voice, but you could stop the side chatter, right? So while my having a more quiet voice would imply that I'm shy or don't want to be visible, right? In fact, that's the opposite, right? I speak the way I do. I'm not going to strain my vocal cords, you know, so just listen. And so I think this is another thing that people miss. And there's, I did that live yesterday talking about the distinction between being nice and being kind, right? So I was kindly telling them, I'm not going to raise my voice. You need to listen to me? But if I was a nice girl, I would have been like, oh, I'm so sorry. Let me see what I can do. But contortion is
Mm,
not authenticity, right? And that's basically what we even call each other to do sometimes. And I feel like that's part of our conditioning. And so what have you observed in contortion?
Yeah, I mean that's again for me it's the kind of people pleasing and the and making yourself palatable and it's the like for me it always comes back to safety. Again, it's like don't hate on yourself for doing that. Understand that there's a reason that you're doing that. There's a reason that you're I call it shape shifting, like you're kind of
Yeah, you're
this
like,
person have to be like that, but no, this person have to be like that, and this person have to be like that. So it's okay. And you know, I think like what I like to give women is a safe space to play around and to try things out. Because you're talking about having a quiet voice. We're all born, right? If you look at a baby doesn't have a quiet voice. A baby is like, I'm going to let you know. I'm screaming right now because I'm hungry. I'm screaming right now. I want you to pick me up. Yeah, it lets you know there's no problem with that. So we're all born with this set of lungs in us. And then we grow up and some of us, especially women, we're taught to, quieten our voice and be nice. So I give women a space to play around with that. It's not that you have to change your voice or you have to change these parts of you, but sometimes you have parts that have you've forgotten about, or sometimes you have parts that you've pushed down. And it's
Mhm.
like give them space. Let them all come out and you play around and then you find which ones, oh, no, I like this one. I want to let this one lead more, or I want this one to step back and let this part of myself lead more. Because again, it's like in the television work that I do in the live events, 80% of men on stage, big voice, 80% of women, quiet voice.
Hmm.
Not just quiet voice, but quiet energy. It's like, oh, there's this kind of shrinking down, and it's like, okay, that's fine. Play with other parts and see what feels like. Maybe there is a part of you that's like, oh, because I think we all. I mean, I used to love, right? I remember with my mum, I used to love, Mum, watch me dance, and I'd be like, doing all my twirls and all that when I was a kid. I loved attention. So I think we like attention. That's to own that as well, to own that part that people call it a show off. I don't believe in show off. I believe that we have a need to be seen.
Yes.
We have a need to be seen. And I remember with my ex-husband, I used to say to him, I say, I need some attention. He's like, right, okay, sit in the chair. And he would just look at me and I'd be like, 2 minutes, I was done because I like having pure attention on you, is like just, and so we
Yeah.
need that. So yeah, so I think it's like really just playing with all parts, like letting them all come up and giving them a space.
Yeah, understood. So you got a thing going on this week. What's happening? Tell me about it.
Yeah, it's my signature course, which came from actually, I think it was about, I don't know how many years ago, a few years ago, that I hired this woman because I wanted to create a course. I don't know, my brain was not functioning properly, right? But she said to me, it was about 5 years ago, she said to me, right, now you've created the course, now you have to go and record the videos. And I was kind of like, sorry, record videos? What do you mean record videos? She went, yeah, you're going to have to get on video and record the videos. And I remember just freaking out because it was too much for me. I was like, I can't be seen, I can't be seen, I don't, and I went to her and I said, I want to leave the course. And she said, don't do that. Take some time out, figure out what's happening, come back because it's just going to be a waste. Try and use this opportunity to move through it. And so that's what I did. I went away and I worked on myself. And then I came back and then I realised this process is great. I'm going to forget the course I was going to teach and I'm going to teach this instead. And so I recorded a course about this. And it's
Hmm.
called Goodbye Camera Shy. So it was birthed from my own freaking out and going, no, I can't get on camera.
Hey.
And so it works because I took myself through it. And I was able, because it was funny, because after that freak out with this woman, I recorded the course, I launched it with Facebook ads. I had 110 people sign up. I had like 20 people come to the live coaching calls. So for me to go from that, like, "Ah," to being able to do that, I realized how amazing this is. And I thought, I want to teach people this. So that's
Yeah.
what I'm doing this week, starting on Monday. Tomorrow, isn't it? Yeah.
Okay. That's amazing. So, like, if people hear this podcast many months from now, would there be a way for them to like sign up for, I guess they could just sign up for your course.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know what I'll be doing in the time, in the future because everything's constantly moving, but just DM me, reach out to me. I will be doing something. And the thing about this is like the foundational work.
Hmm.
Because Goodbye Camera Shy, it's like, as we've talked in the call, is really about changing that relationship with yourself.
Yeah.
Because that is the foundation of everything. Being able to get on camera and liking yourself. I did because when I was developing that course as well, I also got people to afterwards, after each module, to fill in, what was coming up for them and stuff. So before they started, I got them to fill a form in, and it was all like, I don't like my face, I'm too ugly, I sound weird, like all kind of stuff like that. And at the end, I can get on camera, I like myself, and it was just amazing. I appreciate my face. Especially one woman, I remember her, she was just like, I can't go on camera because my double chin and my eyes and this and that. And at the end, she's actually made me a testimonial. She went, I can look at my face, and it was so touching. It was like, wow.
Wow. That's amazing. I really love the work that you do, and it makes a difference, right? There's a whole different level of like coaching people when you've been there and you struggle with it yourself.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. I think that's something I'm going to own, something in myself right now, is because I think I'm a great coach because of what I've gone through. Someone sits in front of me and I can see all this self-hate and I'm not good enough. I can see it and I can hold it and I know it's possible to change it, and I guide people. I keep the turn, I keep guiding them here, keep going here. And I know what it's like to live from self-hate, and I know what it's like to live from self-love, and I know that how to bridge that gap for people.
Mhm. Yeah. Well, for someone who's listening and they may be like, I don't know if I could ever do this, like what would you say and what resource is available for them?
Yeah, I understand that because I was there myself. you know Breathe, it's the first thing. Take a breath, it's okay. And to know that it's possible to change. For example, if you're listening to me, if you listen to my life story, to where I am now, I never thought it was possible to change. And let me be an example for you. Just remember, oh, she's done that. She went through all this stuff. It's possible. Oh yeah, she changed. Okay, that's possible. So have some role models, me, Cordelia, other people. Just look for that proof that change is possible. And then I'm hoping, DM me. I'm happy to jump on a call. Or I'm developing some free stuff as well at the moment because I really want to. I always think it's sometimes just to give someone something they can read isn't the best. I'd like to get someone to do something, some kind of creating a free, just a little free, like 1 day thing for people to do.
I like that. Yeah. That is so key. It's like that's true. Sometimes people feel like they're a silo, like it's only me suffering and struggling with this, but no,
Yeah. I
there's
would say your brain, right, when your brain looks for evidence. So whatever you're believing, it's going to look for more evidence. So if you think you're broken, it's going to look for evidence. If you think it's never going to change, you're going to look for that evidence and it'll find it. So just use someone like me, like you, other people to say, oh, they've changed, and then start to have your brain look for that evidence, and listen to that evidence. And this person changed, that person changed. Because that really helped me, especially with the experiencing abuse as a woman. I just thought, I'm never going to be free of this. And I had to find evidence of other women having gone through that and changed for me to have hope, you know?
yeah. And you were able to get married, and all the things. So, um, yeah, so it's definitely possible. So once a woman embraces her visibility, how does it ripple out into the other areas of her life, relationships, leadership, capacity, and all those things?
I think with business, for example, you showing up as you're able to speak your truth in the world. You're able to say the things that you believe, your insights, your concepts. You're able to share that. And so that just doesn't just show up in your business, it shows up everywhere. It shows up with at work, if you're, maybe you don't have a business if you're at work. It shows up with your partner, it shows up with your kids. That ability to know your truth first of all, to know what you believe in, to know what your boundary is, for example, to know that and to go, okay, here's my truth, or yeah, no, I don't want to do that, thank you very much. Like being able to see yourself as a sovereign person with boundaries, with limitations, or with this is what I like, this is what I don't like that. I think is such an important way to live in life, especially as a woman, because we often can be boundaryless,
Yes.
and say yes when we don't really want to, all that kind of stuff. So really being able to be visible and speak your truth and stand up for yourself and stand up for what you believe, that ripples into so many other areas of your life. And the thing about that is, when you're changing, other people start to meet this new you. So and they have to change as well in a sense if they want to meet you. So relationships can shift as well.
Yeah, you have to you get to retrain them.
Yeah, exactly.
Yes. Hello, I'm Lucy again, this is the new one.
Hello, this is me, version point 2.0. So yeah,
So thank you so much, Lucy, for being here today. I've really enjoyed it. I really, like listening to you, I'd really want to talk to you about doing stuff together. Where are you? Are you in London?
I'm in London, yeah.
Oh, okay. All right. So you left Scotland. I don't know if you noticed, but when I posted the thing, I used one of the songs of the singer from Scotland. I don't know if you're familiar with Valentina.
No.
Okay. Yeah. Anyway, we will chitty chat in just a minute, but let me close off the show. Thank you for listening to What People Miss. If this conversation inspired you to savor a little bit more of your life, I invite you to continue the journey with me. Visit cordeliagaffar.com to explore more ways to reclaim your joy and confidence. And if you're ready to go deeper, join us in the Ultimate Joy Goddess community, where we practice radical self-nurturing pleasure and presence together. And we get to have a special guest come to speak with us, like Lucy Debbie Hall. So thank you, and later. Now to stop the recording.